Hey everyone, Amar here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why self-discipline is one of the greatest acts of self-love, right? Being more disciplined is one of the best things you can do to love yourself more, right? And so I hope by the end of the video, I'm able to convince you of this, hopefully make you more disciplined and obviously boost your self-esteem and self-worth. However, before we get into the video, I would just quickly like to say that if you're new to the channel, you like this type of content and the things I talk about, I would really welcome you to subscribe. Also, if you do use Instagram, I'm posting on there nearly every single day. Obviously, it's not as in-depth content, but if you just need nuggets of information every day to keep you on track with your journey, then go ahead, check me out on there as well. But without further ado, let's get into this video. Self-discipline is the path to self-love, right? I think when most of us think about discipline, we have a lot of pain attached to it, right? Because it feels like there's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of discomfort. I'm going to be doing things that I don't really want to do, and that's going to really make life hard for me, right? And I think there is an element of that to this discipline, right? But as you're going to find out, it's worth it, right? That struggle you go through when you keep yourself disciplined is actually going to lead you to greater levels of self-love. And I come to this understanding through a quote that I recently read in a book, and it had a definition for love, right? And the definition for love was, it's the will to extend oneself for your own growth or someone else's growth, right? The will to extend oneself, right? So that's the main focus here. There's the will, and then there's the extending of oneself. So the first example I've got for this is like a parent with a child, right? Think about someone who raises a child. Any of you parents watching, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's hard, right? You've got to show up every day. It requires a certain level of discipline. You just can't show up once a week or once a month and give it your all and say, okay, my kid knows I love them because I love them one day a week, right? It's not going to work out. They're going to grow really messed up. They need that nurturing and loving every single day. So you literally have to will yourself to raise your kids to the best of your ability so they become the best that they can be, right? That's a good parent. A good parent wants their child to become their best selves, right? And to do whatever it takes to get them there. So there's a great act of the will, because that's not easy. Getting up at 2, 3 in the morning and changing nappies is not easy. Taking your kid to the hospital when you've got to work and they've fallen ill is not easy, right? All of these challenges that come up, but we do it, right? And if we do it right, kids will grow up healthy. What I'm suggesting is we can apply this same idea to ourselves, but we don't show up for ourselves in the same way, right? But if we were able to show up for ourselves in the same way every single day, extending ourselves and pushing ourselves, we would grow, right? We would really become all we can be. And I think there's an idea about unconditional love which goes in like spiritual circles, which I do believe is true on some level, that you are lovable just because you exist and you are worthy of love just because you're alive, right? I think on some level, that's probably true, right? I don't know, because I haven't experienced that level, but I'm assuming that's probably true. But I think that's only true for people who have actually got to that level, which is probably a very, very high level. Most people do not see or feel that they're lovable just because they exist, right? So if you take someone who's got depression or some serious mental, emotional disorder and you told them that they are worthy just because they exist, I don't think it's going to heal the depression, right? It's not going to do it. So we need to get to the level where we feel unconditionally lovable, right? But most people are not there. That's the problem. So we almost have to earn it. We have to work for it. And this is why life can be hard. But this path, this will to extend yourself, to grow, is going to make you love yourself more. So it's quite easy to do as well. All you need to do really is you need to choose a goal or an aim or something that you want, right? And then you just got to start to extend yourself towards that thing, whatever it is, right? I'm not here to say that people's desires are right or are wrong. Even in the past, I used to think all desire or wanting things was wrong. And again, I see this in the spiritual community. Again, on some level of development, you probably can renounce that stuff, right? But just to renounce it by bypassing it altogether, I don't think that's not real to me. I think true mastery comes when you master something. So let's say people renounce money or relationships, but they've never really had much money or really had healthy relationships, but they've just renounced them. That's not really the path to mastery. The path to mastery is to maybe attain a substantial amount of money or have relationships and then renounce them. And then say, you know what, I've mastered these areas of life. I don't need them now, right? So I think a lot of people in the spiritual area might bypass that, not everyone, but we should actually learn to master things, and we use our desires and the things that we want to help us master areas of life, right? And this ties in very well with you becoming more disciplined and loving yourself more. So choose something that you want to experience, that you want to have. It's got to be something that you have to really extend yourself towards, right? It could be changing your body, or maybe pursuing your dreams, or making more money, or finding a great relationship. I don't know, whatever that is for you, right? But it's something that's going to stretch you, something that's really going to extend you. Because if you remember the quote, love is the will to extend oneself, right? That's the key piece. You've got to keep pushing every day, even when you don't feel like it, right? It's what you're essentially doing is you're telling yourself that there's something that you think would make your life better, right? And then you are actually taking action on it. So that's sending a very, very powerful message to yourself that you're actually worthy of that thing because you're taking action toward it. And in this way, you will start to kind of just love yourself more. Day by day, as you keep moving forward towards whatever this aim of yours is, it'll start to sink in that I'm pursuing this because I must be worthy of it, and you'll keep getting closer to it and closer to it, and you'll just start to love yourself more and more. From a higher perspective, it's not even about you attaining the thing, right? If you get the thing, whatever it is, that's awesome. And then you got the thing you wanted, and you got self-love, right? You got two things. But even if you didn't get the thing, you would still get the self-love if you really extended yourself day after day, week after week, month after month, for as long as it takes, right? You've got to have patience, especially if you are suffering or you've got a lot of kind of issues. You've got to really kind of just persevere. And some days it's going to be hard, right? Just like the parent raising the kids, some days that parent doesn't want to get up at 3 a.m. to change a dirty nappy, but they do it out of love. Same with you. Some days you're not going to want to work or do them things you want to do, but you've got to remember that this is what you have to do in order to really start to appreciate yourself, right? And unless you're at that level where you feel that you are unconditionally loved, then you've got to get to that level. Doing these things will get you to that level, right? Along with other things, of course. So that's really the gist of the video. Live a bit more disciplined, right? As much as disciplined as you can be. Always be extending yourself. Even when you get to a certain level, if you get comfortable and you've developed a lot of good habits and you are disciplined, but you don't feel like you're extending yourself anymore, you've got to go further and extend yourself even more, right? This is the journey, right? Life is hard, life is a struggle, so just embrace that. And that's where you'll find some meaning, and that's where you'll really find yourself, and you'll really start to appreciate yourself more, right? You'll feel it. And that's why the journey's so beautiful, because on the way you're growing and getting better and better and better, and it kind of makes the suffering, this discipline, a little bit more acceptable, a bit lighter. Okay, so I hope this video helps someone out. I hope you can persevere towards whatever it is that you want, and just keep developing that discipline, because you're going to end up loving yourself more. Okay, but that is everything I have to talk about in this video. If you have anything to add, any questions, any comments, anything at all, hit me up down below. Otherwise, if you did enjoy the video, please go ahead, give it a like, share, subscribe. It really helps me out. Check out my book if you haven't already. But until next time, remember to keep living free and being free. Peace.